In a world that's always rushing, interrupting, and multitasking, few things feel as radical, or as rare, as simply giving someone the space to think. In Time to Think, Nancy Kline brings this truth to life with powerful clarity. The quality of everything we do depends on the quality of the thinking we do first. And the quality of our thinking, she says, depends largely on how we're treated while we think. That's the soul of this book. It's not about teaching others what to think. It's about creating the right conditions for original, independent thinking to happen. From the very first chapter, Kline asks us to challenge our assumptions about communication. Most conversations are full of interruptions, advice-giving, and quick conclusions. But in a thinking environment, a concept she develops throughout the book, the emphasis shifts. Here the listener is not just waiting to speak. They are creating a space that honors silence, attention, and respect. The core principle is simple but profound. People think best when they are allowed to think for themselves in the presence of someone who genuinely listens. The book introduces 10 components of a thinking environment: attention, equality, ease, appreciation, encouragement, feelings, information, diversity, incisive questions, and place. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're practical tools that anyone can apply to improve the quality of their conversations, relationships, meetings, and leadership. Let's explore these elements one by one, because they form the heartbeat of Kline's message. Attention is perhaps the most powerful component. In today's distracted world, we rarely give people our full attention. We're often half listening, already forming our response, or worse, looking at our phones. Kline makes a compelling case that real thinking flourishes in the presence of uninterrupted attention. She shares examples from her coaching and teaching work, showing how simply staying quiet, maintaining eye contact, and showing interest can spark insight in the other person. This kind of attention is not passive. It's active, focused, and generous. It tells the other person, you matter. Your thoughts matter. Closely tied to attention is equality. In a thinking environment, no one dominates. Everyone has an equal right to think and be heard. Whether in a meeting or a one-on-one dialogue, the idea is to level the power dynamics. Kline encourages practices like structured rounds and meetings, where each person speaks without interruption and in turn. This simple shift often brings forward the quiet voices, the ones that might hold the most valuable insights. By giving everyone equal time and respect, we invite a deeper pool of wisdom into the room. Ease might sound like a soft quality, but Kline insists it's essential. We think best when we are not under pressure. Urgency can create panic, and panic shuts down creativity. Ease, on the other hand, helps people access the deeper, more complex layers of thought. In many workplaces, there's a constant sense of rush. Kline pushes back against this culture of urgency, suggesting that when we slow down, we actually speed up meaningful progress. Creating an environment of ease allows people to feel safe, valued, and unhurried, a state in which their best thinking can emerge. Then there's appreciation. Too often, feedback is skewed toward critique. We are quick to point out what's wrong but stingy with praise. Kline turns this model upside down. She proposes that for every piece of criticism, we offer 5 expressions of genuine appreciation. Not flattery or platitudes, but honest recognition of what's working. Appreciation fosters confidence, and confidence fuels courage and clarity in thinking. When people feel appreciated, they become braver in their ideas. Another powerful force is encouragement. Thinking can be a vulnerable act. It often involves venturing into the unknown, challenging norms, or expressing unpopular views. Encouragement is what gives people the bravery to keep thinking anyway. It tells them, go further. Say what you really mean. Kline believes that encouragement, combined with appreciation and attention, forms the scaffolding that holds up courageous thinking. Especially in environments where risk-taking is discouraged, a little encouragement can make a world of difference. Kline also acknowledges the importance of feelings. Too often we treat emotions as a distraction from real thinking. But she argues that unexpressed feelings block thinking. If someone is upset, anxious, or angry, they can't move forward in their thoughts until those feelings are acknowledged. That's why a thinking environment must welcome emotion, not suppress it. Kline isn't suggesting that we let feelings dominate, but that we allow space for them when needed. Once feelings are named and expressed, clarity often follows. Information is the next component. People can't think clearly if they're missing key facts. Misinformation or lack of transparency stunts growth. So, Part of building a thinking environment is ensuring that people have access to accurate, complete, and relevant information. Withholding facts, even unintentionally, can create confusion or mistrust. Kline emphasizes that if we want people to think well, we owe them the truth. Diversity adds another dimension. Different perspectives enrich thinking. Kline urges us to seek out diverse voices and experiences, not just for moral or social reasons but because they literally make our thinking better. Homogeneous groups tend to reinforce each other's assumptions. Diverse groups challenge and stretch one another. In a thinking environment, diversity isn't an afterthought, it's a design principle. Then come incisive questions. These are not ordinary questions. They're crafted to remove assumptions that limit thinking. Kline teaches us how to spot the unspoken assumptions behind stuck thinking. Things like, I can't speak up or I'll be judged, or this idea will never work because it's too risky. Once you identify the limiting belief, you can craft a question that dislodges it. For example, if you knew you wouldn't be judged, what would you say? Or, what if the opposite were true? These questions don't lead, they liberate. Finally, there's place. Physical environment matters more than we think. A cluttered, noisy, or hierarchical space can dampen thinking. A warm, inviting, and respectful space can enhance it. Kline shares how boardroom setups, lighting, and even the arrangement of chairs affect the quality of conversations. The message is clear: space speaks. Make it say, you are valued here. What makes time to think especially powerful is how Kline threads these components together into everyday life. She's not just writing for coaches or corporate leaders. She's writing for anyone who communicates: parents, friends, colleagues, partners. The principles are universal. And the results, she argues, are transformative. Teams become more innovative. Relationships grow deeper. People become more confident and self-aware. The ripple effect of better thinking is immense. One of the most moving parts of the book is when Kline shares stories of transformation. A shy employee who finally speaks up with a game-changing idea. A parent who stops lecturing and starts listening, and watches their teenager open up. A CEO who replaces command and control leadership with quiet attention, and sees productivity soar. These are not grand gestures. They are quiet shifts in behavior. Giving someone time to finish their sentence, holding back advice, asking a better question. But they have deep impact. Kline also explores the cultural shift needed to embrace this new way of thinking. We live in a world that prizes quick answers, strong opinions, and constant noise. In such a world, making space for slow, independent thinking can feel uncomfortable, even threatening. But she challenges us to resist this pressure. The most important things in life, love, innovation, change, healing, require time to think. And if we don't protect that time, we risk making decisions from fear, habit, or shallow analysis. Toward the end of the book, Kline reminds us that thinking is an act of self-trust. When we give others the space to think for themselves, we're showing faith in their intelligence and creativity. We're saying, you are capable. You have insight. I don't need to solve this for you. That, perhaps, is the greatest gift we can give another person. And in turn, we begin to trust our own thinking more. We stop outsourcing our decisions or rushing to please others. We become grounded in our own clarity. In a way, time to think is not just about communication. It's about liberation. It frees us from the tyranny of being constantly on. It releases us from the belief that we must always have the answers. It invites us to slow down, listen deeply, and create the conditions in which others can flourish. And in doing so, it teaches us how to flourish ourselves. What makes Nancy Kline's work endure is not just the theory, it's the tenderness. You can feel in every page her respect for the human mind. Her trust in our capacity to grow, adapt, and shine when given the chance. She doesn't try to impress with jargon or complicated models. Instead, she offers a simple but profound invitation. Listen. Respect. Be still. Let others think. To live this way is to change the world one conversation at a time.